What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lucky Titan podcast. I'm so stoked to have you all here. Guys, today is going to be such a fun interview for you because today we're going to be covering something. This is one of the most powerful interviews I think I've ever done. And it's a guy that I've been wanting to get on my show for a very, very long time. And I have to tell you the story before we kind of dive into this, because this is a guy, his name you're going to recognize, but I'm going to give you a little bit of anticipation here. So this guy is one of the most well-known entrepreneurs, got over 1 billion views on YouTube. But more importantly, this is one of the guys who inspired me to do some very big life changes for myself by me just consuming his content. He's one of the few guys I can say, for me, I resonate with really, really well. But what he does better than any other human on this planet is he's polarizing. He's very, very good at pushing away those who he doesn't want and attracting those who he does. So being polar and doing it in what I would say is one of the most effective ways possible. I can't wait for you guys to see this. But the story behind this, okay? I attended this event with a buddy of mine. Most of you know I've talked about Sean Finnegan. He had us come down to his venue, one of his company's Tax Hive, which is owned by Kevin O'Leary's, or Kevin O'Leary is one of the owners, excuse me. Anyways, these guys are fantastic group. Sean's an amazing human. And we sat down at this event, and Sean and I were sitting there, and he's like, dude, you need to meet this guy. And he brings on the guy I bring on today, Sean Whalen. Okay. Sean Whalen, again, huge YouTuber. And I was like, man, this is a guy that I can't wait to meet. So afterwards, everybody got so busy, I never actually got to meet Sean Whalen. So it was really interesting. I'm like, well, dang it, I missed my chance. And then about 2-3 weeks later, Sean Finnegan of Tax Hive invited me to come to a luncheon. I ended up meeting Sean Whalen. We sat down and had a conversation for a good 20-30 minutes just about how much synergy we had and some of the fun partnerships that we're putting together. And I'm very, very excited to work with these guys. But Sean Whalen is just such an impactful human that I can't wait to share him with you guys here today. So we're going to deep dive multiple topics. It's going to be a longer episode than usual because I got Sean for an extended period of time, and I wanted to make sure that we got as much from him as we could. So guys, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. So guys, you probably heard the intro. Super stoked to have Sean here with us here today. But Sean, I'm going to tell a story first off of how we met, because I thought it was really interesting. And you're going to get a kick out of this too, because Sean came to an event I was doing, or I was attending, but I was actually doing an event at the same building. Ended up going and hearing Sean speak. I followed your stuff for about a year, and heard you speak and everything. And it was really interesting because after this, so I had a mastermind I was holding in the same building. I invited everybody to come and to hear you speak. And I did a little poll afterwards of everybody because it was a 2-day event. So the day after the event, I said, hey, guys, what did you think of last night? And it was so funny because 70% of the room was like, oh, I hated it. And then the other 30% were like, wait, why? It was freaking awesome. And it gave me just this moment of just extreme satisfaction as a marketer going, he did his job. he turned away the ones who weren't a fit. He was so good at being polar that you attracted the right people. And it was really interesting because, I, being somebody who consumes your material, and I mean, your audience is males, right? All men. And
actually not. You'd be surprised. My following is it's about 60-40, 60% male, 40% female.
That is so interesting. See, it's a tip for me today. Mine's 70-30 females to males, which I have a very male dominant brand. So I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, maybe I should change my colors to pink or something and see if we can get more people coming our way. But Sean, so I want to ask you this, man, because I mean, you've been, there was a saying somebody said that I thought was so awesome, because you get beat up all the time for this, which is of like being quote unquote polar. But what I like about the way you did your brand is you're like, it's not about being polar, it's being honest, right? And being like truthful. Do you mind kind of talking to that for us? Because I know you get beat to death over this by a lot of people of like, oh, you're too polar, you're too whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, people are always like, why you're controversial or this, that, the other. And I think in what's really fascinating is in a day and age of liars, truth becomes something radically weird, odd, obscure, like polarizing, offensive. It's like, wait a second. No, I want to be sedated with the lies. Like, why would you tell me the truth? Like, I'm 497 pounds. Like, why would you tell me that I'm fat? You know what I mean? Because you are. Like, what do you want me to say? You know what I'm saying? But what's really interesting is I don't think very many people understand like that when you're dealing with an entire society who is just completely asleep. Like waking them up with just reality is so weird. And I had a friend tell me this because I had a lot of my own like issues with this for years. Like, am I too much? I was always told in church, you got to say this and it's got to be this. And you can't say this as a dad and as a business owner. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I would post something. People were like, that's it. You're going to lose everybody. Everybody's gone after this one. And I'm like, it's fascinating because my tribe keeps growing. My businesses grow. My following grows. So what is it? And I had a friend explain this to me and it really made a lot of sense. He's like, you're like a light switch. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, imagine when you were in high school, right? As a kid and you're snuggled up, it's the middle of the winter and mom comes in, and my mom just didn't give a shit. She'd flip the lights on. She'd pull the covers off because she knew I wanted to go back to bed. And what was the first thing that I did? Oh, shit, mom, shut the lights off. God damn it. I'm trying to grab for my covers to go back. And he's like, that's exactly what you are. You're not like telling people stuff that's not as blatant and right in front of your face. The problem is when you're in darkness, when you're living a lie, when you're completely like just you've sedated yourself to the point that you don't even know what reality is. A guy comes along and just flips the light switch on. And it's wildly blinding. It hurts your eyes and you want it to stop. But the truth is you can't actually know anything more, grow, expand, or move forward without the light. So it's one of those things where it's like you desperately want it and need it, but you fucking hate it because it hurts.
Right.
And I found one of the greatest marketing tools, one of the greatest sales tools, one of the simplest things to do to push myself and my brand out to the marketplace is just tell the fucking truth. It's that simple.
Right.
It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be like all kinds of like, seductive. And I'm going to get into the neuroscience of your brain. No, I just tell you the fucking truth. My truth. Right. This is the way I see it. It's what it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But for a lot of people, the light, the brightness hurts their eyes.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about this is I was listening to your talk at this event and I was just thinking through my own marketing, and going, man, do I sugarcoat things instead of just being blunt about it? I mean, I'm a Christian, I'm conservative. Pretty much everybody knows that, but I don't think that I don't think I've been loud enough about it in my brand as well. And recently I've been like thinking, should that be something I should start embracing? And my question to you is like, I was listening to your conversation with JP Sears right before we spoke here. And you guys were talking about this and I was really intrigued by it. Cause I'm like, do you think that politics, like my political beliefs should be included in my brand? Do you think every brand should have that? Or should it be, if you're wanting to go that route? Does that make sense? Cause JP was saying, I kind of got sucked into it and then realized this is what I needed to do and who I needed to be. What's your stance on that?
Dude, look, I'm me. And if you meet me in person, I'm the same asshole in person as I am online. I have the same lack of filter in person or filter in person that I do online. I don't have a dad personality and a work personality. I don't have a home Sean and a work Sean and an onstage Sean and a sales guy Sean and a look at me video Sean. I'm me. Like I played that other guy for years. And it led me to almost killing myself. It literally led me to burning my entire world to the ground because I was like, I don't even know who the fuck I am. I'm this guy over here. I'm this guy over here. I'm this guy in the office. I'm this guy at home. I'm this guy when I'm with my wife. And I'm like, I fucking hate it. I don't know who the fuck I really am. And like when you're over here, you can't say this. When you're over here, you need to say this. And it's like, it's maddening, man. And I was literally being a sheep my entire life, like, bah, over here. And it's like, it literally led me to almost killing myself. I became suicidal. And I found that like the things that are really interesting is that you and me and every person listening to this has to deal with experience through life, sex, money, politics, religion, divorce, depression, bankruptcy, suicide, money, budgeting, parenting, child rearing. And yet we don't talk about any of these things. No, you don't talk about how much money you make. Why? That's a big fucking deal to a lot of people. That's huge. How many people would like to make more money? Everybody, but don't talk about it ever.
Yeah.
What? I don't get it. if I'm making $30,000 a year and there's another guy making $100,000 a year, I want to know what he knows. Let's talk about it. My skill set is this, yours is this. I should do better. We don't talk about politics. Why? It doesn't. That's the thing that really boggles my mind, is how so few people understand. And I'm literally a living testament. I've built multiple multi-million-dollar brands being radically, I hate the word authentic. It's so spun and so used in so many stupid ways, but just me being me. Me being me. I talk about politics. I'm an independent conservative. I can't stand Republicans. I can't stand Democrats. I can't stand idiots. I can't stand, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think so few people understand that this world is starving for connection, and we don't connect over the weather. We don't connect over, so how's work? Okay, great. How's work? Okay, great. Now, fuck, what else do we talk about? You don't understand what I'm saying? We're all involved in this country, and taxes and inflation and money, and we're all parenting, and we all see the public education system, and it's like, yet we talk about none of it because we don't want to offend anybody. I don't really give a fuck if I, quote unquote, offend somebody. If you choose to be offended because of what I believe, that's on you, not me. I'm not going to change who the fuck I am because your feelings get hurt. You should work on your feelings. That's the way that I see it. And I think that's what is radically polarizing about me and about Lions Not Sheep, is people think that I intentionally like pick these fights and whatever. No, I just share my truth. How do you feel about politics? This is exactly how I feel. How do you feel about this? This is exactly how I feel. I talk about God. I talk about sex. It's a really fascinating experience to just be alive right now and to have this introduction to social media, because it's so freaking crazy to me. You know, I'll give you a case in point. I'll finish with this.
Yeah.
My wife and I, like, I've got this smoking hot wife. I'm a pretty decent looking dude. Like, we're very sensual. We're very sexual people. Like, I love the way she looks. She loves the way I look. Like, we celebrate it. I take pictures of her, take pictures of me. And who doesn't want to look like James Bond? What dude out there doesn't want to put on a fucking dope ass suit, have his wife looking fucking dope, and take a badass picture? Like, and any dude is like, that's not me. I'm this blue. Fuck you, bro. You're lying. You're lying. And so me and my wife, we went and did this photo shoot, and she happened to bring all this lingerie with her. And she's like, I want to take some sexy ass pictures. And I found this red tracksuit. And dude, we did this amazing photo shoot where I'm in this like 1980s red tracksuit with my guns, and she's got this lingerie on and she's hanging all over me. And dude, we blew them up and they're hanging in our house because we fucking love them. It would blow your mind, the feedback that we got from people. Dude, you're like 40 years old. Well, act your age, man. Like, I can't believe that you would subject your wife to this. I'm like, my wife wanted to do it. You understand what I'm saying? But in this day and age, it's like, you can't even be who the fuck you really want to be without people shitting all over you. And the real sad part is that most people will never actually be who they really are because they're worried about the opinions of some asshole online.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like this is the life that we're all given to live. Men, celebrate your women. Women, celebrate your men. Celebrate how you look. You fucking work hard to look good. I worked hard to get a six pack. My work works really fucking hard. We celebrate that shit. If that offends you, that says way more about you, friend, than it does me.
Yeah. Well, see, this is something that was so interesting to me because you talk about God a lot, right? You talk about your beliefs of that. And, I'm Mormon, right? Right. You probably knew that. We were down in Utah. So I'm Mormon. I have like Christian beliefs. And my question to you with this is that, being Christian just kind of comes with, hey, this is what the Bible says, right? And this is how I'm supposed to live my life and stuff. And you talk about, questioning that. What's your take on that? I'm just really curious on this because you've talked about it in some sense, but like for you, how do you live that? Because you do believe in God, but you also are like, I'm going to do what I want to do, right? So
I was born and raised Catholic. I was Catholic for 17 years. My mom was Mormon. My dad was Catholic. And so I grew up in this part member household. Yeah. My parents split up when I was an early teenager. Everybody in my mom's world was Mormon. And so my mom was like, hey, we lived in DC at the time. She's like, there's this place called Zion. It's like in Utah and we're going to go there where all the Mormons are. So we came, me and my brother and my mom. My brother and I got baptized in the church. I was a total freaking, hellion. And when I turned 20, I was like, you know what? I want to figure this God thing out. I decided to serve the Mormon mission. I came back. I was married in the Mormon temple. I served in the church and the positions and stuff. And, I ended up getting divorced about 10 years after we were married. And I never was like cursing the church, like screw this or screw that. I was like, there's more. Like, there's more to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe God and what he says. And this is the interesting thing about the Bible. And so few people can understand what I say because they're living a one-dimensional reality. And if you start talking to a four-dimensional creature and you're living in a one-dimensional world, it sounds like gibberish. You don't even understand it, right? But I find it interesting that we as quote-unquote Christians are so addicted to dogma that we don't even believe. Yeah. There are very few people that I know, and we'll use the Mormon church as an example, like most people's testimonies are the testimonies of their parents.
Yep.
They've never actually gone into their own wilderness and established their own. They pray the same way they heard prayers, and it's very interesting. And so when I went through my divorce afterwards, I was like, I'm going to close all the books and I'm going to just start talking to God. I'm going to build a relationship with God. That's what the good book talks about. That's what the Book of Mormon talks about. That's what the Bhagavad Gita talks about. That's what the Doctrine and Covenants talks about. It's everything leads you back to God, to Christ, right? I mean, that's what the Quran talks about. It's always bringing you back to God, not this church or this basket or that basket or this preacher or that pastor or this apostle or this prophet. And so I just decided to go on this journey, and I found one of the most incredible relationships and established this really, really great relationship with God. I came to understand who Christ really was, and the interesting thing is I don't subscribe to any particular religion at this point in time. My daughter right now is serving a Mormon mission. So my daughter's a full-time missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. It is an absolutely beautiful experience for her, for me. We share stories every week when we talk. I smile so much because I'm listening to her go out and do what I did 23 years ago. And I'm just like so grateful for it. Right. But it's fascinating because I've elevated past what I thought that I knew and believed through this secular reality. And that's interesting for people because they always want to take me back to the Bible or back to the Book of Mormon. But I know what you're saying, but it says this, and this is what you should be doing. And I'm like, it's fascinating. Because there's a reality for me.
Yeah.
If God came down today and said A, but the Bible said B, which would be real? Now, most Christians would say, well, the Bible would never contradict itself and God would never contradict the Bible, yet the Bible contradicts the Bible.
Right.
I could show you countless places in the Bible where it literally contradicts itself. So which is right and which is wrong? And I used to tell people on my mission, I was kind of a little bit of a rebel. I'd say, look, man, you can listen to me and my companion. We had the white shirts and the black tags for those of you that aren't Mormon that don't know what we're talking about. And we'd sit there and we'd read these flip charts and these discussions. And I'd say, you can believe us or not believe us. But my challenge to you is this, is if you wanted to know about a Ford, don't go talk to a Chevy guy. Like if you want to know about a Ferrari, don't go ask a Porsche guy. If you want to know about God, go talk to God. This is what I believe. This is my witness. This is my testimony. But I'm telling you, if you go talk to the man himself, he'll answer any questions that you want. So I love the conversation around God, man. Like it's just a fascinating experience and a fascinating time for us with the introduction of technology and things. But I'm doing the same work that the Apostle Paul was doing. Instead of writing it down with a feather and scroll, I'm writing it down for millions to read online. And a lot of people can't connect those dots, and a lot of people don't see it. They don't understand it. But I feel extraordinarily blessed that God has given me this massive tribe of millions of followers to be able to share my witness to. And it might not look like your witness or smell like your witness, or it might not read the same way. But isn't that the beauty of where we are as a people and a culture to truly go on a journey to meet God? That's what we should be doing. Jesus didn't walk around with 16 books. He walked around with nothing. And he sat on rocks and he shared his witness with people. And my challenge to people is to do that, to close the books. Not that they're bad, not that they're wrong. They're all great. They're all right. They're all beautiful. But the true essence of divinity is a relationship with divinity.
Yeah. And see, that's so interesting. That was one of my biggest questions for, because like I watch this a lot in religion, because even like I served a Mormon mission, right? Did all that as well. But I was raised by a father who was also a convert to our church, but he was also very entrepreneurial. And he always told me like, it's okay to question it, right? Don't get so hung up on feeling like you have to believe everything just because it's what was said. Right. And I think it's
but nowadays, what happens when you question? Whoa. Are you falling away? Wait, that's the devil talking to you, not God. And you're like, wait a second. You're telling me to ask questions. I'm asking questions, but then you're telling me not to ask questions, or you're telling me that my questions are bad or wrong. It's just such a wild experience. And I think, honestly, that's why we're here. I think that's part of the whole journey is it's like, will you step away from everything enough to go into, Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. How many people, how many Christians listening to this have truly closed every book and said, I am going to go on a journey with God, and truly disconnected from Sean and Josh and this guy and that guy, and said, I'm only listening to God. I'm only going to take direction from him. That's a terrifying place to be if you've never done it. It's an intimidating place to go if you've never been there. And there's very, very, very few people that are listening to this call right now that have ever actually done that. But yet that's exactly what God's asking us to do.
Yeah. And out of curiosity with this, do you think it should be a sabbatical? Like, do you think it should be, hey, go out for 40 days in the middle of nowhere by yourself and connect with God? Or is it more of like, are you saying this more like almost metaphorically of saying, turn off your social media, close all the books, disconnect for 40 days?
It might be finding a shaman and eating mushrooms. It might be doing ayahuasca. It might be any of these things, right? Like what calls to you, what resonates with you. My real interest, it's a really fascinating experience, man, life. Because if you think about it, like one of my favorite books is The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, which was written by Debbie Ford. And she talks about how when we're born, I have 5 kids, right? If you imagine these kids, these little teeny children, they eat their own poop. They stick their fingers up their nose. They pull heavy objects off of shelves. They don't understand anything. I put my son and my daughter in a bathtub, and there's no like, hey, that's a penis, that's a vagina. This is, there's no, you know what I'm saying? These little infants are pure. There is no right or wrong or good or bad. And she talks about how when we're born into these infinite mansions. Everything is a wonder. Everything is curious. We question everything. We're little kids going, why, Dad? Why, Dad? And here we are as parents going, because I'm the adult. This is what I say. And now fast forward, and here we are 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. And if you step back and you look at it, you're living in this one-room condo. You eat at the same restaurants. You have sex the same way. You say the same shit. You say the same prayers. You're just in this karmic loop of no question, no questioning, no exploring, no wondering, and anything outside of your teeny little 1-bedroom condo is bad, wrong, correct. No, I'm not comfortable there. And so my entire invitation to people is, what would it look like if you could be 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years old and go back to that mansion of infinite rooms? Like, what do you have to do that? Because I truly believe that's what this entire mortal experience is you're going to come in. I'm going to program you with all of these things. Did you pick your name just out of curiosity?
Nope.
You didn't pick your name. Did you choose to speak English?
Nope.
No. Interesting. Fascinating. You probably didn't choose what was right or wrong or the morals that you believe or the things that you believe. Those were all programmed in you by other people that had them programmed in them. Right. So you've actually never questioned anything. Why do you believe what you believe? Like, why do you do what you do? Why are you even doing this podcast? Why are you having this conversation with me? Why do you read the books that you read? Why do you say the prayers that you say? Well, because why? Now you start going on this journey and understanding. So for me, I've found God everywhere. I've found God deep in the freaking mind of an ayahuasca experience. I have found God sitting at a stoplight. I've had God screaming to me sitting in a chair just on my back deck. I have found God in my dogs, just playing with my dogs and receiving messages. I've seen God on billboards. Like, the revelation is coming. The question is, as the good book says, do we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear? And when you're living in this one bedroom, teeny little thing of this one dimensional reality where you ask nothing, question nothing, read nothing, go nowhere, don't be surprised why everything else seems so foreign and so weird to you.
Yeah. Because this is a business podcast, I'm just going to translate this too, because what's so interesting to me is that this directly translates right into business, because
100%.
As an entrepreneur, there's just like this framework that was built by Dale Carnegie, right? You know what I'm saying? Or Tony Robbins or people like this. And we kind of like live based off of them. And not that they're bad, but it's almost that same concept of religions. And there's these
100%
groups from a business angle.
I mean, you mentioned you have a lot of coaches, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I'll just lay this out really quick. I've had over 30,000 people join my coaching group, the Lion's Den. Okay. I've spent $0 in ads. Zero. I've never run an ad. That is 100% organic. Now you do the math. 30,000 people times $300 a month. I average about 3,000 people in there, right? I have been told over and over and over and over again, you can't do it like this. It can't be done like this. It shouldn't be done like this. And yet I have literally proven the exact opposite. I'm a living testament to the ability to speak about God, religion, politics as being one of the single greatest business drivers on the planet. And yet everybody wants to hold back and go, no, I'm an insurance salesman. I don't sell anything. I don't go to my Instagram and Facebook. I'll give you $5,000 if you can find me like pitching something. Go, buy now. You got to do it before 5 p.m. or the time runs out. I'm just literally living my life. And I extend invitations to people to join me if they want to join me. And yet I have been told the way that I'm doing it won't work, can't work for years. And over the last 9 years, I had over 30,000 people organically join my coaching group. And I'm happy to back the numbers up. I'll show anybody my Stripe account. I prove all of this. It's all backed up. It's all verified. I'm not just making this up. So if you stop and think about it, if you're a coach and somebody's telling you, don't talk about politics, don't talk about money, don't talk about religion, they're lying to you. They're scared to do something that could actually help their business. And so they're just perpetuating their fear onto you, because I'm telling you the single best thing you can do for your business, for your growth, for your scaling is to be radically you 24/7, 365.
That's so awesome. Well, and it's, I want you to speak to this because you brought this point up when we were actually at our mastermind just the other week. And I thought it was so interesting is most people in my world, right? Entrepreneurs, there's this word called posturing. And to me, it's just bold-faced lying, right? I've done X amount of dollars. I've done this. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I bet very heavily for this show. And I had a lady said, I built 10 companies to over 8 figures. I was like, sweet, this is awesome. I bring her on. We start having a discussion. She's made maybe 150,000 in her business and was like, not even a director level at 10 different companies that had gone 8 figures. And she was attributing it to her. And I went, why do you feel the need to do this? Right. So I'm kind of curious with somebody who is doing that, right? And they're quote unquote posturing in business. I mean, we all can kind of probably see, especially off what you've said, of how it's harming them, but how would you help them shift quickly over into being honest, right? Because if you've been out there like lying, how do you make that shift? Because for you, it was like a night and day. Like you said, I stopped lying to myself, my wife, my God, or whatever, and shifted. How do they do that?
Stop lying. Just stop. You know what I mean? Like, just stop. What so few people understand. See you, buddy. Love you. What so few people understand is like your lying and your posturing hurts you so much more than you actually know. It just does. It hurts you so much more than you know. Because you have to not only keep that lie up. But at the end of the day, like the reason that I'm so successful in a coaching business and what I'm doing is because I'm radically transparent. There are a lot of people in my group that have way more money than me, way more money than me. Most of my friends have way more money than me. I don't walk in the room going, yeah, let me big dick everybody. No, I have one Lamborghini. You have 5. Dope. That's fucking great. I'm not lesser because I don't have 5 Lamborghinis. I'm a free man doing what I want. And that's what so few coaches understand is that people are looking for permission to be free, not big dick everybody. And all these coaches are out here flexing this shit. I'm like, bro, you're fucking fat. How are you going to teach people about being a good husband and the ultimate of everything? You're fucking fat. You couldn't keep up with me. You would last 30 seconds in the round with me and you would be done. How the fuck you leading anything? You can't even lead yourself, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're making $100K a year, speak to that. Speak to that. Speak to where you really are. And the one, again, I hate to say I can prove this, but the reality is like, that's why my coaching works so well and why so many people have had so much success with me, because I'm so radically transparent with where I am. I show people I started here and I grew to this and to this and to this. And I've actually taken the exact opposite approach of what most of these big dickers, I just call them big dickers. Ladies, you can big dick too, believe it or not.
Make that a t-shirt for your brand, man.
Yeah, big dick, whatever. But the truth of the matter is, like, if you're constantly chasing that, you're lying to yourself. You exude that energy. You exude it. You exude the lack of confidence. When you're showing up doing this or doing this or doing that, like I got no problem sharing my Stripe account. This is how much I made. This is how many people have come through. This is where I am. I've tried to build different platforms to take my coaching group off of social media over the years, and I failed miserably. I took almost 1,000 of my clients off my coaching group, off of Facebook onto this thing that I thought was the greatest thing ever. And it fucking sucked. It sucked. People are like, Sean, this is dog shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I thought this was going to be way cooler than it was. And it wasn't. And I brought everybody back. And all of these people that are in my group watching me do this, they're like, this is why we're here. Because we're literally watching you fuck up and then own it. Like, no one's bulletproof, man. Yeah. No one's bulletproof. Nobody has this fucking game figured out. Nobody knows. There's not one. And so while you're trying to big dick the world to think that you have more money than you do, or are richer than you are, or are cooler than you are, like all you're doing is literally showing the real people that would otherwise work with you why not to work with you. And you don't understand the energy exchange, man. So many people don't understand, like, while you're out there trying to big dick, it's like people that see right through that, they're like, I don't want any of that. And that's why for me, I show people the ups. I show them the downs. I show them when I get kicked in the teeth. I show them when I lose millions of dollars. I show them when I'm fucking depressed. I show them when I'm sad. And everybody's like, you're the coach. You have 2,000 people in your coaching group. You can't be down. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking hate my life right now. This is where I am. And the truth of the matter is, people in my group they're like, that's why we roll with you, dog. Like, that's why we're with you. That's why we're with you. And so I share these numbers simply because, number one, the real, I got no problem backing them up. But number two, I don't know very many people that have done what I've done. I don't know very many people that have had 30,000 people in a coaching group. I mean, I don't say that to be a dick. If you have, good for you. But most of you listening right now haven't. And so if that's the truth, then how is it that I'm wrong? How is it that what I'm talking about can't be validated? It can be validated. And so my challenge to people is to question, like, okay, like if what I'm doing in big dicking isn't working, what would it look like if I actually stopped doing that? And I got real. Because the marketplace is not smart. They're not dumb, man. They're very, very, very smart. And you can smell bullshit from a mile away. And that's the reason that you might find a lot of people that say, I don't like Sean Whalen. He's a dick. He made his stuff in China. He doesn't know what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. But you're not going to find very many people that say, man, when I was in his coaching group, that shit is legit. It is fucking hard. He's raw as shit. He will rip your face off in front of everybody. He doesn't give a shit because that's what works. It's what's real. It's what's true.
That's so awesome. So awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you one question, just kind of wrap us up here. So I have an 18-month-old son. Okay. You have 5 kids? Yeah.
5
kids. Okay.
Yep.
So how are you implementing this directly with your kids? You know, I saw, I was doing my research on you and stuff. I've seen the videos of you working with your kids. I think it's awesome. And I'm curious how you're implementing a lot of this, because you've been implementing this with some when they were, I mean, your oldest daughter was probably 10 when you made the big shift. Yeah. When you had your divorce.
She's younger than that. Yeah.
She was younger than that. So, I mean, you've had kids go through basically the entire process with you. And what have you considered to make the best way to teach what you're teaching to adults to them?
It's the same way that I've shared what I've shared online. You know, whether or not I share a picture of my Lamborghini or not, I'm going to be judged because of it. You're going to have people that say that I'm big dicking. You're going to have people say that I'm an egomaniac, that I'm all of these other things. And then you're going to have people that are going to be inspired, right? But at the end of the day, I drive a Lamborghini every day. It is what it is. And what I decided and what I chose, and this actually started probably earlier than when I think it did, is I don't remember a whole lot of the things that my dad told me, but I remember what he showed me. And I remember as a kid that I asked my mom this a couple of years ago. I was like, did I ever do guys' night with dad? Because I don't have a single memory of going fishing with my father, hunting with my father, going bowling and getting pizza or doing anything like that. And she's like, no, it's just not something that dad ever did. And I remember that when I became an early father, when my daughter was born 21 years ago. And I very vividly remember from an early age in being a father, I might not have done it the best. I still might not be doing it the best, but I remember like thinking to myself, like, no matter what I say to these kids, they're going to believe what I show them way more than what I tell them. Because when I was a kid, I was told, chase your dreams, become an astronaut, go for the moon. And what I saw was my dad going to a job every day that he hated. What I saw was my dad was an alcoholic, and he came home every day from work and he drank himself to oblivion. And that's all I remember from being a kid. What I saw is all these adults telling me one thing, but showing me something different. And I remember that. I'm a 44-year-old grown-ass man with 5 kids. I remember that shit when I was a kid. And I'd be fucking stupid to think that somehow I'm any different than that. Well, I'm going to just tell my kids because I'm a great public speaker. I'm going to tell them to go do this while I go live this. And I made a personal declaration years and years and years ago that I would show my children a father living his dreams, not talking about living his dreams. I very vividly remember like thinking to myself, I'm going to show my daughter what a father who shows up at school on a regular basis with flowers looks like, and not just telling her that. And I have pictures when my daughter was in kindergarten, and I didn't stop through high school. The principal and the school knew me. I'd walk in, I'm like, hey, I didn't have to check in anymore and get the visitor pass because they knew who I was. And I'd walk into her class in front of all of her friends when she was 17 years old in high school, and I'd hand her flowers and I'd give her a kiss and I'd walk out. And she would tell me, Dad, I've never seen another dad do that. And I'm not saying that to shit on other dads. I'm saying that my daughter will never forget these things. And as you're a father, any father listening to this, they won't remember what they were told by you. They will remember what you did. They will remember whether or not you took them out on guys' night, whether or not you did daddy-daughter dates. As long as I live, mark my words, I can't now because she's on a mission. My daughter will be 40 fucking years old, and God willing, I'm still alive. I will take her on daddy-daughter date. That will never stop until I'm in the ground. I will never, ever, ever relinquish that role and that responsibility. My responsibility is to show my children, not tell my children what a good life is, what a good father is, what a good husband is, what a good leader is, what a good Christian is. My children see how I live my life. They watch me every day, and that's the reason I want them so intertwined in my life. I don't separate home and work. I don't separate that. I am who I am at work. I am who I am at home. And I bring my kids everywhere with me. When I'm on stage, they're there with me. I get invited to go do a keynote here. My kids are with me. 70% of my keynote will be my kids sitting next to me. I do a big event. I have Ed Milet coming out and speaking. My kids are on stage with Ed Milet, speaking with Ed Milet. I show them this life. And my challenge to not only, the men, but the women listening to this is to understand that no matter how successful you get, you will never be able to buy back time. No matter how much money you make, no matter how much you ball, no matter how big your agency is and your business is, you will never be able to buy back sixth grade football. You will never be able to buy back T-ball. You will never be able to buy back coaching ninth grade, seventh grade, sixth grade flag football. You won't be able to buy it back. You might die with a ton of fucking money. You might die having won the money game, but you lost the life game. And I don't want to lose the life game.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Well, and Sean, thank you so much, man, for bringing your energy, bringing such awesome knowledge to our people. First and foremost, I want to just tell everybody, go check out the Lion's Den. This is an amazing mastermind group. Go check him out. See what Sean's doing. He won't even promote himself. I will highly recommend you guys go do it. I'll have to have you guys back on and talk to Jadari at one point, because I'm switching over to these guys' platform, guys, and you're going to see it in real time. So, anyways, Sean, thanks a ton, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.